record. Thank you to my recording notification assistant. Awesome, cool. If you don't already have a chair, grab one, please. And before I forget, thank you so much for joining me on a Sunday morning. I hope it's beautiful where you are. It's beautiful here. I had some lovely messages about tropical cyclone Elsa, who blew through, I guess Friday night and early into Saturday morning, and we had no damage, just high winds. So that's always good news. And the sun came out by I guess yesterday afternoon. So that was exciting for us. It's always nice when a big storm passes by and we have no damage, because that's a big part of living on the ocean. Anyway, so I thought we would do a little bit of work today with the chair, and we're going to do just some standing postures and flow, incorporating everything together. We're going to take it easy because it is Sunday. So just really focus on two things today, not only your breath, but I want you to focus on a very open posture, meaning think about bringing those shoulders up, back, and down the back. So a very kind of proud stance. And really kind of whenever we are coming to our feet or even on the chair, think about where your center of balance is and think about postural alignment, if you don't mind. Or if you haven't had 3 coffees like me this morning, you don't have to think about any of that. You can just move your arms and legs, smile a lot, and breathe once in a while. Good. So let's start comfortably on the chair. I'm going to bring my feet about hip width apart, and I'm already starting to think about this postural alignment. So my knees are lining up with the iliac crests, and I'm trying to keep them from kind of flopping. My toes, although you can't see them, spread, arches lifted, and I'm noticing all of the 4 corners of the feet resting on the floor. A little bit of engagement through the core, lifting up through the chest. I'm going to let my shoulders just kind of drop down. And my palms, I'm going to rotate so that they're facing up, resting gently on the thighs. I'm going to try and soften my face. I invite you to close your eyes and just ground into your chair, breathing, kind of starting to welcome this beautiful idea of a practice. And as we start this morning, we're going to go through a little bit of a visualization, a little bit of a mindfulness here. So draw your attention as you breathe deeply to the soles of your feet. Notice the temperature of the floor that they are connected with. And notice how your feet feel in the ankles. And then I want you to feel this sense of energy flowing up through the soles of the feet. So kind of like a plug into a socket, your feet are connecting with an energy source. Let that energy start to flow up through the legs. And you can picture this any way you like. Sometimes I picture kind of wrapping around the legs or crisscrossing, almost like the ribbons of a ballet slipper, whatever you like, or maybe just kind of pulling it up like socks. But let that energy start to flow up past the knees. And then flowing up slowly along the thighs. And then the energy, kind of the 2 streams are going to come together. And this is where we're going to bring some awareness to our energy centers. So those little wheels that we imagine spinning. So in Sanskrit, the term we use is chakra. So starting with the root chakra, located around your tailbone, imagine the energy now kind of hitting that area and being circulated by this wheel, and you can have it spinning quickly or maybe a little slow and sluggishly, but imagining it kind of pushing that energy up into the body. So your root is your center for instinct. This is where kind of gut feel comes from, very reactionary, very primal center. So notice how the energy is flowing. Maybe there's a reason for it to be a little bit sluggish. Maybe it's wide open. Sometimes aggression comes from this area, so be mindful of that. So passing the root, we're going to move up to the sacral chakra. This one is located a little bit higher up, kind of around where the female reproductive organs would be located, or kind of beneath the belly button, but above the hips. This wheel, as it spins, this is your center of creation and creativity. So again, notice how that wheel is spinning. If you need a boost in this area, then breathe more deeply. Imagine more energy flowing up. And then we move up a little bit higher to kind of the core, our center of strength, the solar plexus chakra. And again, just notice how you're feeling. Hopefully there's a little bit of a feeling of relaxation. We've all been on high alert for like 16 months. Hopefully that's starting to release, to relax. We're feeling at peace. So again, the understanding with the solar plexus, we don't have to be a rock for the world. We don't even have to be a rock for ourselves. Just let that energy flow in and out. And then moving up to heart center, our center of compassion, of understanding, of love, of course, and feel how that energy center is flowing. Hopefully that wheel is just spinning beautifully. And remembering, because it's always worth noting here, that the heart center is about compassion, not only for the world and for others, but also and most importantly for you. And without both of those pieces, it's hard to find balance. So keeping your breath flowing deeply, still feeling more energy flowing up from the ground, up the legs. Let's now move from the heart to the throat. Deep breaths here. The throat chakra is your center of communication, of truth, often of wisdom. So as you breathe and feel the energy flow here, maybe think about wisdom that has been shared with you and wisdom that can be gifted to others. Again, that expressive and receptiveness needs to come into balance. And then we move from the throat up to the third eye, center of knowledge. There's also wisdom located here, but it's a different type of wisdom. It's more intuitive, which is why it's interesting when we can connect the throat and the third eye, life gets a little bit better. So as you are breathing energy into that third eye and feeling that flow all the way up the body, maybe notice some heat on your forehead. And if your face is not soft, soften it, take some deep breaths. And then let's move that energy, let it flow all the way up to the crown. And this is either kind of on the top of your head or slightly above your head, almost like a little bit of a halo. And then I invite you to make a decision here. The crown is your center that connects you with kind of the universe and everything around you. And it's really that portal space. So you have a choice now. You can keep flowing the energy up through the feet, through the body, releasing it through the crown and just kind of shooting it right up into the universe. Or if you are noticing that you need a little bit extra today, your own kind of layer of support, love, or protection, then let it kind of cascade, that beautiful energy cascade down around you, almost like a gorgeous fountain. So figure out which one of those you want to do, and then keep breathing for a few moments. Bring the energy again up through the feet, all the way up. Spin those wheels, release the energy, and choose where you direct it. And then take a couple more deep breaths. Let's open the eyes and bring the hands together in front of the heart. And we're going to just do that kind of last shift of energy together. So take a deep breath here at heart center. Exhale as you soften the shoulders. Let's move the hands up to third eye. Again, breathe in. And exhale, softening. Extending all the way up. Inhale. And then as you exhale, push down back to heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Third eye, inhale. And out. Pushing up past the crown, inhale. And exhale. Once more, breathing in, chest is proud. Exhale. Inhale, third eye. And out. Up to our crown. And sweeping down. Good. Once the hands come down, just holding on to either sides of the chair, chest is proud, and we're just going to have a little bit of a squeak here. I'm going to bring my feet together and my knees together, and I'm going to push the chest forward. As I do this, I'm arching through the back, but I want you to think about lengthening before you do that. So really lift up and then get that nice stretch. Holding here, the arms should be strong. And I want you to feel like your feet are pushing into the floor as you engage through that kind of trunk of the body. Take a moment and bring the chin to the chest, breathing deeply. Let's bring the head back up. You should feel like stuff is working, and then slowly start to hinge forward. And as you're doing this, feel that stretching along the spine. So I'm coming to about a 45-degree angle here. I'm going to make sure my core is super tight, because then we're going to do a modified chair pose. So we're going to bring our arms forward, extending, maybe a little internal rotation, stretch through the fingers. And I invite you to bring your gaze up between those two hands. Make sure your jaw is not clenched. We're going to take about 5 deep breaths in and out. Don't let go of that core engagement. And then to release this, we gently collapse down. Slowly, mindfully, let the head drop. We're going to roll back up. Let's bring one arm up. I'm going to cross over with the other hand. So I'm reaching up and lengthening as I extend. Really think about keeping that space in the low back. So just hold here, breathing. I'm trying very hard to not kind of pulse on this. And then coming up, don't lose that space. Pull the arm down, other side lengthening. And crossing the midline. It should feel like parts of your back are working. All the way up and down. Good. So I'm going to scoop one arm over the back of the chair and then the other. My back is not against the back, so I might move back a little bit more. And what I want to do is use this as an opportunity to bring the shoulder blades together, lifting up through the chest. And I'm noticing my toes are peeling off the floor as I do this, so I want to push the feet down, grounding. So for those of you who have tightness through the pectorals, this is such a great stretch. And slowly bring the head back further and further. Keep the breath steady. Bring the chin down, release one side, and then the other. Good. To reverse this, we're going to come into a little bit of eagle arms. Extend one arm forward, bend and center. And then our other arm comes under, up, and around. Keep the core tight. We're just going to lift up through the elbows. Breathe deeply. Lower down through the elbows. Gently unwind, unwrap, roll the shoulders back. And then we're going to go to the other side. So extend, bend, center. Under, up, and around. Second side always feels more challenging than the first. Breathing deeply and starting to lift up through the elbows. And coming back down, gently releasing, big roll back. And since we're here again, hooking on the back of the chair. Beautiful, proud chest. The thing I like about this little sequence that we're doing now is that for those of us who spend a lot of time at desks during the day, or in the evening, whatever, I'm not judging. Think about this as something that you can be doing to reverse some of the postural things that we do to ourselves during extended seated times, especially if we're working at computers. So I'm still lifting and lengthening here. You can start to bring the head back. These little things are also fun pieces that you can kind of turn your camera off and do if you're stuck in a Zoom marathon or other kind of, we spend so much time online now that I'm noticing it's really kind of changing how we feel physically. So this is kind of a nice thing to reverse it. And then slowly releasing one side, then the other. We're going to do the eagle arms on each side again. That already feels, you should be feeling kind of that you're releasing across here. For me, trying to remember all my big words today. If you feel kind of heat across the chest or almost a tingling or an itchy sensation, like you want to scratch it, that's vascularization happening. So sometimes as we stretch the muscles, blood rushes in, all the basically the connective pathways open up and there's this flood of oxygenated blood, and that can make us feel hot or itchy. Not a hot flash, but it's a neat sensation. So if you're finding that's happening, that's good. So extend, bend, center, eagle arms. And this time with your eagle arms, I want you to arch the back. So try and keep, let's bring the elbows to shoulder height here. and arching through the back. And you can just kind of tuck your head down to the arms. Watch the core stays tight, please. And then slowly releasing. And the other side. I'm a fan of doing some of this stuff. Again, if I'm stuck in a webinar or a long council meeting or something like that, where I can turn off my camera, I will do this, or I'll do kind of lunges, anything that I can do to kind of stay a little bit active. So let's pull forward, arch the back, tuck the head. And then releasing, roll those shoulders down. Good. I'm going to hook one arm, and then I'm going to start to twist and lean into this a little bit. So we're stretching out the shoulder. If you've got a rotator cuff issue, you probably want to switch or not do this, skip it maybe. But I'm just kind of using my body weight to lean in and get a little bit more of a release across here, just kind of hanging down to the side. And just watch your neck while you do this. And then coming back up, let's do the other side. Leaning. And then let's bring a leg across. So see if you can lift up into this wonderful posture. Of course, this will be familiar to us because we often do this on the mat. So I'm trying to really kind of have this beautiful alignment here. So my knee is lined up with my iliac crest. Foot is lined up with the knee. Nice and tight through the core. This leg is active, and I'm helping to achieve that by flexing this foot. Core is tight, shoulders are down. And I'm going to invite you, rather than kind of try and negotiate this and pushing into it, you're probably going to feel a lot of activity in that hip. If you can, sweep the arms up, roll the shoulders in, and we're extending up as you continue to pull in and up through the core. Let's take 4 deep breaths in and out. Keep stretching up through the fingertips. Good, and then roll your shoulders down. From here, you're going to invite your knee to the opposite shoulder for a little bit of a visit. So just pull it up, and then we're going to twist. So you're leaning into this. This is where you're going to feel that big release through the hip, lots of deep breaths. And then coming back to center. Let's lift up and just lean in gently, not too far. Again, that sense of lifting up, really lengthening through the spine. That's what this means. And just kind of bringing the chest forward, breathing through this. This is so intense. At least it is in my world. Good. I think I've done videos before, but this is also something I will do. I will put my leg, this part of the leg, across a table or a desk if it's high enough, and lean in that way, kind of a modified pigeon. Cool. So coming up, just gently support that leg. Coming down. Let's do the other side. So as I set up, the first thing I am noticing is that this hip is significantly tighter than the other side. And I can tell that because physically it feels tighter. This knee is sitting much higher. So I'm just kind of making a mental note of that, because again, if you're kind of going through these things on your own time, at your own pace, spend extra time on the tight side. Or on the mega tight side. All right. If it's comfortable, bringing the arms up and really lengthening here. Good. Let's bring the shoulders down. Let's invite that knee to the opposite shoulder, bringing it up, hugging it in, and a little bit of a twist. And then we're going to come back to center and just a little bit of a lean in here. Lots of deep breath, lengthening along the spine. And let's lift up and gently releasing. Good. So wiggle your bum to the front of the chair. And we're going to do a little bit of strengthening. This is a great fun, that's debatable, great practice for developing core strength. So we're going to do a modified boat pose using the chair. Not all chairs work for this. So if you're finding it's uncomfortable, just adapt or modify. What I want to do is kind of feel the sit bones connecting with the seat of my chair. So the seat and my seat connect. I'm going to come up onto my toes, tight through the core. I start to lean back and see if you can just lift up. Take some deep breaths and then slowly down. I'm going to show you from the side because I don't want you leaning right into the back of the chair if that's possible. So sideways, what we're doing. So I come up onto my toes, tight through the core, a little up, and then I just want to kind of practice balancing. Your arms can be wherever they would like to be. If you need to have fingertips on knees, you can do that. But let's try and hold for about 3 or 4 breaths. And then we release. Good. Take a breath or two. That's a tough one. Hopefully you felt the shakes in a good way. And then let's do that one more time. Again, I'm going to turn this way. It just gives me a little bit more space. Tight through the core, feeling that connection of the sits bones, lifting up. There we go. 3 or 4 breaths. And releasing. Amazing work. Good. Let's come up to the feet now. And I want to go through one of my recently most used stretches. And it's been doing amazing things for tightness in my low back. So hopefully this is something you guys can try as well. So you're going to come to a standing posture. And as I readjust my pants, all you need to do is place a foot on the chair so that you have space in front of you. Make sure your hips are tucked under, core is nice and tight, and you're going to take the arm on the standing leg side, and you're going to start to reach down towards the ground. If you need to hold on to the chair for balance, that's okay, but just slowly start to reach your way down. And do this over a few breaths. And once you kind of feel like you're at your limit of stretch, I want you to drop the head. You could bring the other arm down as well. Just be mindful of how the low back feels. Let's slowly start to roll up. Bring your shoulders all the way back. Make sure the hips are tucked under. And then I'm going to ask you to hold on to the chair, ground into the supporting leg, and then we're going to step down. It's a really intense stretch, so you want to make sure that everything's okay when you ground into the floor again. So think about how that feels. Let's do the other side, and then we'll add a little bit of additional postures to this. So I'm just going to walk over to the other side. Bring a foot up. It's so interesting how these stretches work as far as kind of an exploration of self, because this is my tight hip today, but I am feeling this so much through the hip flexors on this side, which tells me something really interesting. It tells me that this side is feeling tight because this side is tight, which means I'm pulling across. And that's going to kind of compress and compact, leading to feelings of tightness. So that's how it all works and why we try and even stuff out. So I'm going to start nice and tall here, and then the arm on the standing side is going to start to lower down. You can bring the other arm down too if that feels good. Just keep the breath flowing deeply. And Dan just put a pot of coffee on, so I should explain the gurgling, bubbling sounds in the background that you might be hearing. That's my coffee maker. Let's slowly start to lift back up, rolling the shoulders. And again, just holding on as we step down. So think about how stuff is feeling through the hips, through the pelvis. Again, this is specifically a stretch that's so good for the SI joint. So think about if tightness in this area is your thing, this is something you might want to do on a regular basis. Let's come back to the other side for a moment. And let's really kind of go further into this idea of stretching. We're going to do a modified gate pose. So bring the side of your foot to the chair. And just hang out here for a moment, nice and tall. My supporting leg is on a slight angle out, if that's comfortable for you. And I'll tell you, I'm kind of in this mindset of yoga therapy, which is really kind of what we're going through today, simply because this week in our practice, that is our focus. So I was editing our content for that I'll post later today or tonight in the portal, and it's a yoga therapy program focusing on upper back, shoulders, arms. I loved it. It was a lot of thread the needle and dolphin and a bridge pose with the shoulders under, and I felt so good after it. So I kind of wanted to continue that in today's practice. So I'm going to take a moment and kind of roll my foot over so that the sole of my foot is now on the seat of the chair. That may or may not work for you. And I'm going to take my foot further out on an angle. And I'm going to start to bend through that knee. So you're going to feel that hopefully delicious stretch up the inner thigh. If it does not seem like delicious would be a good word for it, keep the breath flowing and maybe don't go as deep here. So let's lift up and sinking down, keeping that core tight. Let's come back up and down. Pushing up, sinking down, and then let's add a beautiful sweep up and over. Just notice what's happening through the kind of outer edge here of the hip. I'm sinking deeper into this bend and then all the way up and releasing. So I'm going to bring my foot down. We'll stay on this side since we're here. So I would love for you to just grab a hold of the chair for a moment. We are going to ground into a supporting leg beside the chair. Bring your shoulder back, so mindfully bring it behind, bend the knee, grab a hold of that foot. So the outside leg foot. So I am holding on to my foot. You could hold on to your pants if that doesn't work for you, whatever feels the best. So a few things are going to happen here. I'm going to ask you to drop the tail. So if you're kind of pulling your bum up and back, just tuck the hips under or just feel the weight of the hips dropping down. And then I'm going to ask you to just bring that knee forward a little bit. And then pulling back so your knees are aligned. And then I'm going to ask you to pull the knee back a little bit further. Just going to get a little bit of a stretch there. Good. Lots of deep breaths. And if it feels like a good idea, you could release an arm, reaching up, really lengthening here. And then if you're loving all of this, you can lean forward, creating a balance opportunity. I'm going to just shift because I'm creating an opportunity to put my knee into my stereo. And then as we release, I'm going to invite you to just cross your foot over and bending forward. And this is a little bit of just find your comfort zone here. Coming back up and releasing down. Great, let's switch to the other side. And actually, as I switch to the other side, I'm going to grab a quick sip of water. Beautiful. Okay. Side of the foot starts on the chair. Think about really kind of lengthening through the supporting leg. So the hip is nice and strong. Same thing that we would do when we kind of really what is that saying? Shore up. So we're going to shore up this side. Take some deep breaths here. Lengthen, keep the hips tucked under, and then start to roll onto the sole of the foot. Good. I'm going to move my supporting leg out on a slight angle, and then I'm going to start to sink down. Pushing up and down. Up. Let's come down again. Let's push up once more here. And then coming down. And this is where we're going to start to sweep up and over. And I find as I start to feel the body kind of accept what we're doing, I'm sinking a little bit deeper into that bent knee. So going a little bit further down. And all the way up. And let's bring the foot down. Just make sure everything feels good in the hips. We're going to come a little bit closer to the chair. Excellent. We're going to weight bear on the leg that's closest to the chair. Roll the opposite shoulder back. Grab a hold of the foot. And let's set up on this side. So drop through the hips. So feel that lengthening. And then bring the knee forward a little bit. Line up the knees. And then take that knee back just a little bit and shore up on this side. Nice and strong. Good. Again, if you're comfortable here, you could bring the arm up into the air and challenge with some balance. And then if you'd like to go further with your balance, you can. And then we'll slowly come back up and gracefully lowering down. Awesome work. I'm going to invite you to flip your chair. We're going to do a little bit of a modified downward facing dog. Feet are hip width together. If you want to kind of make sure you're a good distance, you could just kind of tap in advance. Otherwise, let's just reach up, leaning back, lengthening, and then moving into your position. Take your time and work with your breath. It would be ideal if you get to a point where your ears are nestled between the arms. Grounding through the four corners of your feet, arches lifted, and those feet should be hip width apart. So work on a deep, steady breath here. And if you want a couple of more things to work on, kind of focus on lengthening around the tail and almost scooping the hips under. You can hold the posture here a little bit longer if you want to go deeper and incorporate a twist. I'm going to invite you to bring your left hand down to the floor and just sink in a little bit deeper. Bring that left hand back up to the chair. Head is settled in, back with the ears between the arms. And then we switch for the right hand on the floor. Bring that hand back up. To release this, slowly pull the hands back, start to bend your knees. Then we're going to roll up super slow. Hands together in front of the heart. Good. So before we ease onto the floor, let's just make sure that the hips are where they should be. We've done a lot of stretching. So to do that, I invite you to just turn the chair so the seat is facing forward. Nice wide stance with the feet behind, shoulders back, toes are out. Really tuck under through the hips and then just lean into one side. And we want to keep the weight really centered, which is why the chair can be super helpful. And then to switch sides, I want you to actively think about pushing up and then pushing down and out. And as you come out, think about that pushing back through the knee, just like we would in a warrior two. So push up and down, opening here. Shoulders remain back. Pushing up and down. Up and down to the other side. And once it becomes more comfortable and you're kind of incorporating all those steps, we can increase the speed. You can make it nice and fluid. You guys look great. It's all this beautiful movement happening across the top of my screen. Hi. Do you want to do some yoga?
No, I'm good.
That's the sound of my husband declining an offer to join the class. Good. And then let's just come up to center. Just take a big sweep up. Really lengthen, tuck the hips under. And then bringing the hands down to the heart, shoulders, roll to release. Good. Let's bring our feet together. And we're going to get ready to enjoy the Shavasana. I'm going to keep my chair for this because I want to rest my legs on the seat. So for this, I'm going to just kind of scooch myself up. Again, if the tight pectorals has been something that you've been experiencing, then I encourage you to come into, ooh, my floor is cold, come into cactus arms for this. Think about how the low back is feeling, make sure everything is relaxed in the body. And start to close the eyes. So as you rest here, deepen the breath, get comfortable. And now would be a great time to come back to, if any one of those, or all of them perhaps, but whichever one of the energy centers or chakras was maybe an area that you needed some extra help with, bring that into your focus now. And as you're breathing in and out, really kind of direct that loving, healing breath to that specific wheel and visualize it spinning strongly, both receiving beautiful energy, but also expressing it out. start to deepen your breath. And bring the arms up over top of the head. Have a really great stretch. And then make your way off the chair by bringing the knees into the tummy for a hug. And however you like to move to a seated posture, we're going to do that. Then I invite you to, if you can, just spend a moment. There's a nice little posture you can take for a few moments. You can either do this cross-legged or you can extend your legs out on either side of the chair. But it's often nice to just cross the arms and just nestle your forehead onto the arm. So you're kind of doing that connection with the third eye. Then slowly moving up, bringing the shoulders back and down. Oh, good. It's always nice when Hamish joins us for this part of the practice. So with that, we're going to wrap things up this morning. Thank you, Hamish. Thank you for being adorable. So let's bring the hands together in front of the heart and just keep the shoulders up and back. Take some really nice deep breaths. And do a few more breaths as you just kind of check in with yourself and notice how you feel. Good. So I thank you so much for making the time to hang out with me and Hamish and Kevin on a Sunday morning. It's always such a treat to do these practices. I look forward to them so much. So I appreciate that folks join me. And your recorded content will be posted later this afternoon. And I hope people will enjoy a little bit more of the exploration of yoga therapy this week and how we can create kind of a little bit of a space for comfort and relaxation and a little bit of a reversal of some of the stuff that we do to ourselves when we're not on the mat. So with that, I say thank you and namaste. I can't wait to see everybody again soon. Good boy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.